Hey guys! What? I finally did it. Okay. Oh, the Nightingale. This book, this is one of my favorite books of all time. It is historical fiction, and I literally recommend it to everyone that asks me for a good book. I tell everyone, and I have gotten a lot of positive feedback from it. I don't think one person that I recommended it to has come back and said, Kaylee, that was an awful recommendation. I hated that book. Not one person. Every person that I've recommended to has absolutely loved it. And oh, it's my favorite book. Okay, so I found this book. My mom recommended it to me. She listens to audiobooks, so she listened to it, I think, fairly recently after it came out. When was it published? 2015. So probably shortly after that. And she kept telling me about it, and I just was like, okay, fine, whatever. And then finally I was able to get it, and I couldn't put it down. And I've only read it that one time because it was so good. I didn't want to be disappointed the second time, but I wasn't. So I was happy that it's still one of my favorites. So there are some benefits to reading it the second time because I know what's going to happen, and well, I'll tell you about that in a second. Okay, so it's historical fiction. It takes place during World War II. So like most historical fiction books, it has two timelines, 1939, and that takes place in France, and then again 1995 or on the Oregon coast here in the United States. So it follows two sisters, Vianne and Isabel, and they are like totally polar opposites of each other. Vianne is a mom and a wife, and that's like what she does, and Isabel was in finishing school, which is like a school to be a lady, etiquette. But she kept running away and dropping out and getting kicked out, and so she's kind of a bit of a rebel, and she's young. I think she's like 19, I forget. She's fairly young, but so yeah, they're totally opposite of each other. So you learn a little bit about their past and like why they don't get along so well, and why they are the way they are, and like why they don't get along with their father, and what happened to their mother, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so World War II starts, and the German troops start coming in and taking over France. So Isabel she runs away, but then she goes to live in the city in Paris, because that's where their father lives. And he says, sorry, no, you can't stay here. There's a war coming. The Nazis are coming. You're going to go live with your sister out in the countryside. And Vianne lives in this like small little town, this peaceful, like picturesque village. So Isabel has to walk all the way to the village while the Nazis are bombing and people are dying and everyone's fleeing the city at the same time. So it's insane. And she meets this guy and they fall in love, typical. So let's see. Vianne's husband is then sent to fight in the war because I think all the males that were capable were sent to be in the army. So then Isabel does show up. They're not getting along. They're butting heads. Isabel wants to join the resistance, wants to help France in some way, save the country, yada, yada, yada. So the Germans actually come into the town, Caravue? I don't know how to say it, but so at this time, the Germans were coming into the houses and taking everything of value and were sending it back to Germany. And the commanders, generals, like the higher upper people, they were living in houses with these families. So Vianne actually has a German billet, that's the term, billet with her. So there's that. Yeah. Okay, so again, Isabel is a rebel. She wants to join the resistance. So she starts doing all these secret things under Vianne's nose and has no idea about it. And Vianne just keeps thinking that she's like a rebel and she's going to get in trouble. And she keeps warning her that she's going to get in trouble. And Isabel's like, oh, be quiet. It's fine. I'll figure it out. Okay, so that is really, that's really all I can say, because there's so much stuff that happens and I don't want to give any of it away because it's really, there's so many twists and surprises. So I don't want to go too far. So that's all in like 1939 to 1945-ish. I think when the U.S. comes in and frees concentration camps. So the other timeline is 1995, taking place in Oregon. So there's a female, older woman. She's living in Oregon. Her son's trying to take care of her. She is close to her death, and she gets this invitation from France to come back to Paris for a reunion. But we don't know who this woman is. So the whole book, you're going back and forth. You're like, oh, is this person? No, I think it's this person. No, I think it's this person. No, I think it's this person. You just go back and forth because you don't know. And you really don't know right until the end. And the ending ties everything up. Like, it's such a great ending. Like, you feel like, okay, that was a good book. Like, there's so many books that you're just like, oh, I want to know more. What happened? But I don't think I didn't feel that way with this one. Like, I felt it was good. And like, I feel like all my questions were answered, or most of my questions were answered. So it has a really great ending. So there are lots of things that happen. There are many secrets. Like I said, so there's concentration camps, there's spies, there's queues and ration lines, where when they want food, well, really it was like everything. So like I said, the Germans were taking over everything. So like, for example, a restaurant was able to make all these fancy foods for the Germans to eat, but then the French were left with literally nothing. Like, everyone's starving. Hunger is like countrywide. So there's that. And then there's also hiding Jewish people and hiding Jewish children right under the Germans' noses because everyone's getting sent away. So yeah, it's a lot. I know I just rambled a bit, but it really is such a great book. And I am so happy that I read it again because now I know what happened. So I was able to see kind of a different perspective, and it was still really good. There aren't really any boring parts, I don't feel like. I feel like it keeps you on your toes. You're always wanting to know more, like what happens next. So yeah. Okay, that's The Nightingale. If you read it, let me know what you think because I want to talk about it. Like I said, this is my favorite book. If you haven't read it, read it. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.